This episode of the Off Road Podcast is sponsored by Warren Power Tank and Medical Gear Outfitters.
Off-Road Podcast, episode 305, Solar Power.
Tonight, Aaron flirts with other Jeepers, Jeremy gets shut out, and Ben orders more stuff.
Welcome to the Off-Road Podcast, the podcast about everything off-road. We cover the news, review products, and interview people in the off-road industry. I'm your host, Ben. I'm here with my co-hosts, Aaron and Jeremy.
Oh man, the look on Aaron's face when I said that just made it worth changing up what he said, what he typed in the notes.
Yeah, it was great. It was definitely great.
The Weekend Review is brought to you by Medical Gear Outfitters. What are you waiting for? Are you waiting to have a casualty on the trail? Check out medicalgearoutfitters.com to get straightened out. Medical Gear Outfitters has everything you need, whether you're going out for the day or traveling on a year-long expedition. Head over there to get off-road specific kits that meet all of your needs. And while you're there, make sure you use Off-Road Podcast for 10% off. So Aaron, what have you been up to?
Gonna have a sad here. I better go get a box of Kleenexes because I'm looking at Jeep rentals. I'm looking at Jeep rentals for Moab. There's no way my truck's gonna get done. So
Is it you just don't have enough time to work on it between now and
yeah,
then?
if I quit my job, I would have enough time.
Yeah,
Sounds like you need to quit your job.
I've considered it. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to have that measurement in my head if I hadn't thought about it. So yeah, it's a bummer deal. It's a lot of work and it's going to require a lot of attention, and there isn't enough time. I'm going to keep chugging away at it. There's no reason to stop working, but yeah.
You have 2 months.
Ish. Less than 2 months now. It's a less than 2 month countdown.
Ish.
Maybe do some work,
Yeah.
part, man. Call up some buddies, be like, hey, I need you over here to help me, and this is what we need to do each day.
Yeah. It would take several work parties of Saturdays, full day Saturdays. So Rick recommends quitting, probably because he wants me in a Jeep. So
Wait, no. That's why you wouldn't quit.
So I don't have to be in a Jeep?
Yeah.
I
Rick
know.
apparently hates Jeeps now. You've heard it here, guys. Rick hates Jeeps.
No, he recommends that I quit working on the Nissan so
Right.
that I will drive a Jeep.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, there we go. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he meant he recommends quitting your job.
Well, it could be that too. I hadn't thought about that. He probably recommends that as well. I would put it past Rick to suggest that everybody retire. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So, Overwheel Bound says that Toyota topless events are better than Jeep topless events, and I've not been to either. I suppose, yeah. I'm not going to a Jeep event. I'm going to Moab with a friend of the show. So it's just the two of us and our families. I mean, I will probably take the top off, but probably actually now that I say that, I probably won't take the top off because it's going to be 100 degrees every day we're in Moab. We're probably going to keep that thing sealed up tight with the AC on full blast. And
No. You got to take the doors off. You got to put the top down. If you're doing the
put on
Jeep
a
thing, you
spider
got to.
shade if you're worried about it.
what'd you say, Ben?
Throw on a spider shade if you're worried about a little sunburn.
Yeah, or maybe one day if we do one of those trails that goes through down the creek bed or whatever, and there's shade or something. Maybe that day. I'll just stash the Jeep doors and the Jeep top in the bushes as I drive past.
Sounds good. And Rick recommends you quit your job. He clarified that.
He clarified. Yep. I mean, has it ever hurt anybody to quit their job? I mean, it doesn't hurt, right? Should just do it.
That sounds fantastic right about now.
Yes, it does.
Besides that, I got to finally shoot in my lower field, which means I got to shoot rifles on my property again. The field is dried up enough that we could drive down there and not get stuck, which is fabulous. Oh yeah, and I'm 3D printing stuff still. Hold on a second.
Uh-oh,
Here
he's
we go.
making he printed a gun, guys. Watch out.
I printed a wrench,
Yeah? Does it
and
work?
it's operable. See that?
So you've got an adjustable
Getting
hammer now?
closer. Yep. See, it's getting
No,
smaller.
it's a very specifically set torque wrench,
Yes. Yep.
disposable
Once
torque
you,
wrench.
it is a disposable torque wrench. There you go. For any size, as long as it is between those sizes. I also printed. This one was a fun one, and it took 2 days. But it is an alien skull.
Nice.
I think my kids said it looked like a pug. I'm not. It
The
doesn't look like a pug to me,
a
but
pug mixed with Daffy Duck.
I'm not sure. I mean, you can see how far that jawline goes back, and the eyeballs go back way deep in there. So
Nice.
yeah,
That's a cool
yeah. In the comments here, it is it's a ghost wrench. It is unserialized. I'm gonna have to go off the grid now. I'm probably all over the internet. The FBI is watching because I've built a ghost wrench.
FBI. I'd be more worried about the ATF. They'll shoot your dog. Both of them.
That's true. Hopefully they'll go after my pug first. Yeah. How about you, Jeremy? It looks like you were busy putting air in your tires.
I was. So I started up the Jeep for probably the first time in 7 months because I needed to air up my tires and set that inner bead because I was planning on putting it back on its own tires and possibly taking it out for a drive this weekend. That's kind of what I was hoping for. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so I aired up all the tires. I got one tire on the rear. I torqued down a couple lug nuts. And then as
Yes.
I was just moving along to the next lug nut, I just kind of grabbed the tire and gave it a little shimmy and
And it
probably
moved.
about quarter inch of play in it. It's like, what the heck? So then I started doing some figuring on what was going on. And what it ended up being is so Dynatrack, for whatever reason, I have no idea why they would do this. If you guys know, go ahead and either put it in the comments or reach out to us and let me know why. But they used, so for the wheel studs on the front, they used a 1.5 inch wheel stud. On the rear, they use a 2.5 inch wheel stud. So the lug nuts that I had were not deep enough. They were bottoming out on the 2.5 inch wheel stud in the rear before they were really making contact with the seating surface of the wheel. Um,
That's brutal.
so I
Did
couldn't
you
put.
take did you take the lug nut, if this was a lug nut, and like just saws all the back of the lug nut off so that the stud could come through the back of it?
There were a bunch of things that I was thinking about doing. So one of them was doing what you just mentioned. The Another one would be just cutting the stud. The problem with cutting the studs is there's 16 of them, so I knew at some point I would probably need to chase the threads with even if everything worked out well for a couple, at least one of them I would probably have to chase the threads with a die, and I do not have any. All my dies are metric because pretty much everything I work on are metric, but these are 9/16 studs, so I didn't have the right die for it, and there's 16 of them. So I kind of shied away from that one. I thought about just getting some open lug nuts for the interim, but I didn't want to buy something and then have to buy something else later, and I didn't want to run open lugs just because I don't like getting all that water and dirt and grime and stuff in there to seize up seize the lug nut onto the stud. And so I just ended up buying some new studs. They should be here tomorrow, so
Oh, you
maybe
bought
this
new
weekend.
studs?
Or sorry, not new studs, new lug nuts.
Okay.
New lug.
Lug
That was
nuts.
Oh,
the other option, was buying new studs, and it seemed like a waste of my time. That would take more time than cutting, I feel like.
you could have. What you could have done is used an open lug nut, just one, threaded it on, cut the stud, and then backed it off, and it was straightened out any of the threads.
Yeah, that probably would have worked as well. But I mean, when I got into thinking about it, having to cut 16 studs, it was worth the $45 to just buy new lug nuts.
Yeah, I
So you got
agree.
deeper lug nuts, or
Yeah, I bought deeper lug nuts. So the lug nuts that I had were some Terraflex spline drives, and they're about an inch and a half deep. And so I picked up some 2-inch deep ones, which should be enough to give me the right. Uh, they were actually like 2.25-inch studs on the rear. Um, I guess I was over exaggerating on trying to make them sound
Did
deeper.
did you get the 4-inch spikes that thread on the end of your lug nuts to look really cool?
Good lord,
Gangsta.
no.
oh my goodness, I've got a
Okay,
story about
so
some of those.
so
I bet you do from where you work. I wouldn't be shocked.
yeah, a little. So I don't care for four wheel parts much, if at all. For the most part, I
I
mean,
don't.
some four wheel parts shops are okay, but the company as a whole, I there's better companies that I like to deal with more. Um, so I was kind of shopping around trying to figure out who had a good set of lug nuts for me that would work that were a lot cheaper. Ended up going with Summit Racing, uh, not to be confused with Summit Machine. Uh,
Nope.
so they're a great company, uh, but the four wheel parts, the only ones that they had with my thread pitch were the spiked lug nuts because I have 8 lug wheels. So most of the eight lug market, uh,
Brodos.
there's a lot, right. You're
Yes.
looking at Brodozer stuff. So the only ones that they
Oh,
offered were
there's
the
your
spiked
that's
ones.
your answer right there, Jeremy. I think I figured it out. It's a
Oh,
1-ton axle made for
yeah.
dualies.
Yeah. Not
Uh,
necessarily dualies, just Brodozers.
No, no, that's why your
Yeah, but they're purpose building these for Jeeps.
it's
yeah,
true. I guess that's
the
true,
ax-
but
but the axles they could be ordering are a rear axle for a Dana 60, and so that Dana 60 axle
yeah,
could be for a
Yeah, I'm
dually.
I'm sure that's what they're doing, and that's probably you are probably 100% correct. That's why it happens that way. But it seems like if you're putting in as much orders as Dynatrack is putting in, you could probably specify what wheel studs they put in
yeah,
there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so an, a little bit of an annoying fix because I had to go and pick up something else to that'll work for me, but oh well. Other than that, I ended up going through and taking off my old bumper lights. I never really cared for them much. They were like big HIDs, probably like from 2014 or something when lights were pretty awful still. Um, and so I just had a set of spots and a flood 14-inch bar. So I ended up throwing those on the front of my Jeep, a little bit lower profile, don't stick out as much, aren't the uh the thing I hated about the lights is that's exactly where your eye was drawn to was those two lights, and they just didn't look
okay,
that good, um, in my opinion. So I got something else that'll work a little bit better. Wired those up to my switch pod and got those ready to go. And yeah, that's
got to
been
get your
about my
feng
week.
shui on.
Yeah, I mean, when I couldn't take it for a drive, it was like, well, I guess I'll install these because it was something that was on my mind. I'm still waiting for the hydro assist to come in, so hopefully that'll come in soon, so I can actually get the thing trail ready. But then I got to break in the axles and go from there.
I'm excited for you. How about you, Ben? How much stuff did you get done?
Um, Not really much. So my wife was sick, and then my kids were sick. I want to say Wednesday they started getting sick. Maybe it was Tuesday. No, it was Wednesday. Um, so everyone started getting sick, and it got to the point where the wife's like, we might have COVID." So I had to cancel. I had to not be at practice for t-ball on Thursday, and then it was just like a long wait for the COVID test to come back. I was supposed to go over to Pete's house this weekend, but we're waiting for that test results, and we're like, hey, you guys have jobs, we can't stop you from working type stuff. So we didn't go do that. So unfortunately, but um, I decided to go with some retail therapy for myself since I was so sad and upset. Not really. We needed some more stuff. We're going to Montana in July. So I ordered up a Gazelle G6 Deluxe. Um,
G6 Deluxe.
yeah. So Gazelle came out with a new canopy room thing. It's got the wind guards all around, plus the front door also acts as a little awning, just so when we're glamping it up, we have a nice little shelter. Helps with the bugs and crap.
Not if that
Other
door's open.
Not if the door's open, no. But I don't know. It was just something we wanted. We've been talking about for a while. And they came out with the new G6, which is better than the previous model. So spent some money.
Did you sing like a G6 or however that song goes when you're
No.
pushing the order
Oh,
button?
and Rick's mentioning my head. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard to see here. I was
Oh, we just saw it.
mounting my kids' TV in their room. Um,
Oh, okay.
I hit my head on the underside of the mount. I gouged my head about 2 inches, and yeah, head wounds bleed a lot.
Yeah, they do.
Yes, they do. So,
Hmm.
yeah, the glare blinded you. Thank you. No problem, David.
So
Colby Valve is in the house
Yes.
and throwing some shade at Ben. I love it. Couple of my two favorite things.
so Ben, I'm trying to figure out what that G6 Deluxe is going to be folded up because that's the one thing I dislike about Gazelle tents. Like I love my Gazelle tent, but
I
they're
have a
just
feeling that it's probably going to be about the same size, lengthwise, as my
As your entire Forerunner.
as
I
my
think
what's it called,
your
my
T4.
T4.
my T4. Yeah.
I don't know. It's 86 inches. So I can't find any specs for how long it is when it's packaged up.
Yeah.
But it's 86 inches high when
It's
it's folded out, which your T4 is not 86 inches high. It's
no.
probably like 74 inches high.
Yes. So we'll see. We'll see. It's supposed to show up on Wednesday, I think it is. So,
I I bet it's going to be pretty long. I
but
think it's a fantastic idea because like for me, I don't want to, you know, it speaks to me because I don't want to put a awning on my Jeep because I don't want a roof rack.
yeah,
Um, and that sounds like a great option for somebody who wants to have a portable shelter that's a little bit better than like a pop up. But
yeah. Well, and that was kind of the thing is, um, with the rooftop tent on the Forerunner right now, I can't um put anything on the roof, and so it's like, well, where am I going to do things? And so this will fit in the back of the trailer. So
which trailer?
the teardrop trailer.
Oh, okay,
So I mean,
like
it'll
you're
fit.
gonna put it on your bed.
Yeah, I'll just put it on the bed.
Make sure you don't get it muddy while you're putting it away. Otherwise, the wife will
Well,
probably be
so
very happy.
the mattress is 3 pieces, so I can just stack the mattress up on one side and then throw the the on tent thing in next to it and not be on the bed. I'll find out when it gets here. I'll show you.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Hey guys, we're looking to reach more listeners. We're going to start reading Apple iTunes reviews on air. If you hear yours, send us a message with your address, and we'll send you an off-road podcast sticker. You can find all of our social media by just searching our name. Now, go hit that subscribe button.
Speaking of sticking out. How about shipping out some stickers? I just mailed a couple out a week ago to some of our listeners, writing in reviews and reaching out to us. So make sure you message us and if we read your thing, or if there's something else that we talked about sending a sticker out for, message us. I can't even remember what it was last week, but we asked for somebody to tell us something, and we'd send you a sticker if you told us something. So go re-listen to episode 304, find out what that was, and we'll send you some stickers. We also want to thank our sponsor, Patriot Patch. Head over to patriotpatch.co and check out their selection of great patches, shirts, cleaning mats, signs, and stickers. You can also join the Patch of the Month Club for $15 and receive a patch, matching sticker, and artist proof each month. Speaking of Patriot Patch, hey, Aaron's talking again and again. He just won't shut up. I got a Patriot Patch envelope here. Right before the show, I ripped this edge thinking I need to show the guys what I bought. I'm like, I'll just do it live on air so our fans can see what I got from Patriot Patch Company.
Do you know?
Yeah. I know what one of them is for sure. I think I know what two of them are, but I've honestly forgotten. So that's it. So I'm going to not look at my desk where I just set them out. I'm going to pick one up at a time. I got a sticker here, the gun safety sticker. I did not order that, so that was a freebie thrown in there. They throw those freebies in. Oh, and excellent. I've actually, it's kind of silly, but I did need a business card from them because I gave some patches to somebody and I didn't have a business card to give the person so that when they go to order some stuff, they can have a coupon code. All right, here's the next one. I'm going to look at it in the screen. Oh, there it is. No one is coming to save you. This is the one that sent me to their website to buy a patch. Did you guys see this one?
No, I didn't see that one, and now I want it. And
We just
Jeremy's
lost
butt.
Jeremy.
It's
Yeah,
okay. I don't like him anyway.
must have pissed him off or something. This is so this is a new one. It came out 2 or 3 weeks ago. You can see it's got an AR. I don't know why they've got that might be a Browning high power. I'm not sure if that's a Browning high power or 1911, and then some ammo underneath that television. So, yep. Next one, Endless Possibilities. That's classic. That one's they've had that one since almost
That's
the
an
beginning.
early design, yeah.
Yep. I believe though that they've redone it because it's got raised PVC on there. So if you got an OG one that doesn't have the raised one, maybe you want a new one. Yeah, this is the other one that I remember buying, the Flugaloo patch. Not the Boogaloo, the Flugaloo patch. And the last one, oh yes, this is the way. Claymore mine. Usually they tell you which way to point it. This is the way. That's a great play on words. I didn't know they had that one, and I stumbled across it. So that one definitely ended up in my shopping cart. So
Oh, my kids would hate me if I had that one. I say this is the way to them all the time.
So
This is the way.
is that the way you point it, or is that the way you point towards yourself?
this is
Direction
the way.
unclear.
Directions unclear. Well, that's typical of a government employee. Directions unclear. So figure it out, Jeremy.
Not my job.
Yeah.
The news is brought to you by Power Tank, the ultimate mobile onboard air system for performance, versatility, and reliability. They are your source for all air-related accessories. Check them out at powertank.com.
Speaking of Power Tank, going back to kind of what I was talking about earlier, I've never had good luck trying to set a bead with my ARB twin just through the normal valve stem, unless you remove the valve core, which is pretty standard for trying to reset a bead. But through the monster valves with my ARB twin, I was able to set the bead no problem, not even using any soapy water.
So one recommendation I have to help set a bead, Jeremy, is to take your belt off and wrap it around the tire and tighten it as tight as you can get it. So make sure that if you're doing that, that you have a 40-inch belt.
Well,
wait, no. That's the diameter. That's
Pi
not the
R squared,
circumference.
Or no, 2 pi r.
Yeah, you need a really big belt.
You need like a
ratchet strap.
Yeah. So that is a good way to do it with the ratchet straps.
For
And
wheelbarrow tires.
ratchet straps?
I mean, I guess my
No,
point
no.
is
I
that
was
you have
talking
to have
about
something really long.
yeah, yeah. But no, I was able to set the bead on my tires without using any liquid or any soapy water, without taking a valve core out by using the monster valve, and that was fantastic. I mean,
And no
it just
clangs.
it just definitely shows you how fast those things are. Now I didn't time it to figure out how fast it was with my ARB twin, which will be coming later. We'll be doing that at some point. It was probably about 2 minutes a tire. I don't know, minute and a half a tire, something like that. We'll see.
Yeah.
Well, this first article here is about a 1979 Ford Expedition Raptor. I almost called it a Bronco.
Well,
uh,
so there's not really such thing as this truck. It doesn't really exist, at least in the United States.
no, it does not. So this is something that is very special, and I'm trying to share the screen, and I should have thought about this sooner. This makes for great radio right here.
Definitely does.
You got it? Do you need help? There you go.
So
There it is.
there's a company that built this. So their name is oh man, I'm
Sweet
sharing my
Brothers.
screen to show the photos, and I can't see my
It's
my notes.
it's Sweet Brothers Restomod.
Thank you. So this is a Ford Bronco four door that's been stretched and put on a so it's a 1979 body, and they put it on the chassis of a 2011 Ford Raptor. So this thing, I'm trying to find. Nope, nope. That's the best picture that they had. So this thing that they built has like 600 or 540 horsepower. I can't do this, guys. Somebody take over for this.
So it's got 540 horsepower with a Roush supercharged 6.2-liter Hemi.
It's so weird that they've got a Hemi in this Ford product. It doesn't make sense because, in fact, in like 2011, they were running, if I'm not mistaken, those Raptors were the V8 Raptors, not the twin turbo V6 Raptors, which made really good horsepower.
Hold on. Did I type Hemi?
You did. You wrote Roush Supercharged 6.2 Hemi.
Nope, no Hemi. Sorry. That's
6.2
my bad.
liter V8. There we go.
I hear Hemi or I hear V8 and I think Hemi. No.
Oh man, we just got unsubscribed by half of our show.
Wow.
That's
So
my fault. Yep.
cool thing with this Raptor.
Okay, so they're still running the Ford motor then.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
The
They're
cool-
running the stock Raptor 6.2 liter V8. And they've supercharged it. So I think the stock one, if I'm remembering from the article right, it makes something like 400 horsepower.
It is 411 horsepower. And with the supercharger, it's about 540 horsepower. The cool thing is something I was reading up on this is that the OBD2 scanner still works. So if you were to take it to a dealership, they could work on it if they know how to work on a Raptor. You'll be able to check codes, clear engine lights, run diagnostics. That's pretty amazing. Generally, with a rig like this, where you've got some custom chassis stuff going on, you don't get cool stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta say, Resto Mods, that is the thing that I like probably more than anything else. When you
Especially if
blend
they have a
that
Hemi.
when you blend that that old styling, that classic styling with the new innovations and what you can do in performance, that is the stuff that I love the most.
Yeah.
So this one I think is selling for 200K, which honestly seems like a steal of deal for what you're getting.
Yeah. It's really amazing. I mean, if you think about the work that was done and all that blending, 200,000 isn't really all that bad.
Rick just has to say hemorrhoids.
Hemorrhoids. That's
Is,
what you have.
No, he said hemorrhoids,
Yeah,
but
he's hemorrhoids. Come on.
no, read it.
I know it says it does say hemorrhoids, but we should throw an I in there for hemorrhoids for sure.
Yeah, is that when you
Wh-
supercharge a Hemi, you're like putting it on steroids, so it's hemorrhoids?
I think so. Well, so that is going to be our next vehicle to talk about is the Hennessy Mammoth. Can you screen share that one while I talk?
I
Yeah,
will screen
I'll
share it
screen
while you talk. Oh, I
I'll
got it.
screen share.
Don't fight over who gets a screen share, guys.
Mine's better.
There we go. So, the Hennessy Mammoth, they're only making 20 of these, which is 19 more than the Ford Expedition Raptor that we just talked about. They are taking the Ram 1500 TRX truck and turning it into this SUV that they're calling the Mammoth. So it's basically taking a two-door pickup truck, turning it into a three-row SUV. The good news is that they're only $375,000. That ain't too bad, right? Um, Here's the even better news. For that $375,000, you get just over 1,000 horsepower. You get 1,012 horsepower, 969 foot-pounds of torque. That's incredible. And that's on. So it's not just a Ram 1500 chassis. It's the TRX chassis, which is it's what's kind of in competition. Some say it's better than the Raptor. Some say it's not as good as a Raptor. But it's the Raptor's competition. Um, 0 to 60 in 3.2, quarter mile in 11.4 seconds. 11.4 seconds is redonkulous. That thing it's so quick.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. 2.5-inch lift on 35-inch tires with 20-inch wheels. That's kind of the only details besides the horsepower. That's kind of the only details they talk about in here for this rig. So, um,
The only thing I really hate about it, and maybe it's just me, is 20-inch wheels.
yeah, did you notice that I put it in the parentheses in the show notes here just because I was like, on
Yeah,
20-inch wheels. But I will say that if this thing has that much horsepower and blah blah blah, and they gave it a 3.5-inch lift,
2.5.
you could sorry, a 2.5-inch lift, you could probably fit 37s or 40s underneath this thing and
With
be
this
fine.
picture,
And
looking at it, I don't think so.
it doesn't necessarily look like it, but like you can get the Ram Prospector, I believe, with 41-inch tires.
Oh
So
yeah, that is true.
that's
And
six
I
inches of
mean,
more meat.
what's going to stop someone from buying one and throwing more lift on it?
Very true. But I get so where I was going with that is 20-inch wheels aren't out of the question for
Yeah,
37s. I mean, they're right on the verge for 37s, but definitely not for 40s. You can do 20-inch wheels all day long on 40s and it's
yeah,
not too much wheel.
yeah. Just 35s with 40s and 20s. I'm
Yeah.
just, that's too California for me.
Yep, for sure. Pretty cool rig. I'd be shocked if I ever saw one in my lifetime if they're only making 20 of them. And if they are only making 20 of them, people are paying 375. Are we even going to see them? Are we even going to see them out there?
Yeah, I liked Brent's comment here. 375K. That'd make it most definitely a Ram, right in the wallet or thereabouts.
Yeah, I think I'd rather take the that Ford for 200K.
Rick says, I don't see them selling a bunch. Well, maybe he fell asleep during the comment because he's old, but I had mentioned they're only making 20 of them.
Ouch.
Salty.
He's sitting in his recliner right now, tipping back a gin and tonic.
Go prepared with Warren Industries. They produced the first recreational winch in 1959 and lead the industry with their dedication to quality and reliability. When you dig yourself in deep, make sure you have the right tools to get yourself out. Get Warren equipped and go where others can't. Now, let's get ready for adventure and head into our main topic.
And as a reminder, we also have a giveaway. We're giving away for our 300th episode. We're doing a massive giveaway. It ends July 4th.
Massive.
And this massive, massive. And in this giveaway, we are giving away a Warren VR 10S, a 10-pound package A power tank, Medical Gear Outfitters first aid kit, the Overlander, a Warren Bluetooth hub, not Bluetooth hubs, and a $250 Tread Lightly subscription. And that's all brought to you by our awesome
sponsors.
sponsors that help keep this show going. So yeah, and if you don't win or you don't think you're gonna win, feel free to check those out and buy those anyways. So today we're talking solar. This one could be very long-winded, or it could be very quick. I kind of went a little detailed on my notes here, so if I run long and you've got questions, feel free to ask questions because, we might make this a two-parter, depending upon how much it flows. So, why might you need solar, right? So, in my experience, most of the time you don't, because most of the time you're not camping out for more than a weekend, and if you have that big of issues needing power. But if you're doing the whole overlanding thing, or you're camping out more often and planning on being out longer, that's when solar comes in
Or
handy.
or you need to grow your Instagram channel.
Or or you need to work on your Instagram. Yeah, or you're working on it for the gram, or you've got a trailer or something. So yeah, solar power. Oh yeah, Rick's already in here with a question. What is solar? Solar power is created from the sun rays using a panel. I'm terrible. I don't know that. What is solar? I'm not looking up the definition. So if you're charging up, if you're not in Washington, it's great. It's even better. Um, so yeah. But if you're staying in a place for a while, you might need power. Or you need to charge up your camera batteries, your batteries to keep your 12-volt fridge going, or even a 120 fridge if you want to run one of those. Piecing it together or buying a pre-made setup.
Before you go there, you kind of mentioned that um, why people need solar. Let's maybe talk about things that would equipment that would cause people to need solar.
Okay, so let's see. A 12-volt fridge.
Yep,
Uh,
that'd be the top of the list for most people.
that's going to be a big one. If you're out for a weekend and you're not moving, so you're not charging up your vehicle's battery, that's a good time for a solar panel. You've got electronics that you want to use, or you want to run a projector while you're camping because you want to watch a movie. You want to charge up your laptop. You
How
want to run some
about
camp lights.
how about a CPAP machine?
Ooh, a CPAP would be another good one under that
Hmm.
solar.
I see a
Those,
lot of people talking solar for their CPAPs
yes.
to recharge the battery. So we should maybe say people aren't running their equipment off of solar; they're recharging their batteries that run the equipment.
Yeah, yeah, and generally, you if you have a solar setup, you might have an extra battery to help with that load. Um,
Yeah.
Trying to think. What are some other things? Your lights around camp. So yeah, it's kind of like having a house battery on your trailer for
No, it would
I,
charge. You could use it to charge your house battery.
yeah, your house battery on your
Yeah.
trailer. But it is kind of like if you have the right setup, you can have a 120-volt plug. So if you wanted to run something from home like a blender to make margaritas while you're out
A,
camping,
a VCR
a
for your
VCR.
movies.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm just trying to think.
Disco ball.
A disco ball. The options are unlimited if you have the correct setup.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, piecing it together, buying a pre-made setup, DIY is generally cheaper, more customizable. You can get some pre-built setups that just slap together, but generally that's going to cost a little more.
Hmm.
So there's I've got here. What is 12 volt versus 120. 120 is like house stuff. You'll hear 120, 240. That's kind of what Aaron's doing for a job here as an electrician. 12 volt is more automotive and RV based. So yeah, the plug there on the right of, I'm gonna move you here, Aaron.
Oops, there.
The one
There
that
we go.
Aaron's got his finger over here is a 120 plug. That's like your normal house plug. A lot of
That's what
like
you
the
plug your blender. That's what you're plugging your blender into
yes.
when you're
And
glamping.
when you're glamping, there you go. USB is pretty typical on those solar generators, and I'll get more into those here in a sec. Well, actually, I might as well. So, solar generators, which I've got a Jackery 240. Aaron's got an AIM Tom. I don't
Aim
have
Tom.
how many amp hours does that have?
350. No, 300.
300 amp hours.
No. No, this is 25 amp hours, 300 watts.
Oh, okay, there you go. So I mean that's good for a nice basic setup that will do a lot of what you need. It's also got that cigarette plug on there. That's
Yeah.
a one that's going to be like your 12-volt plug-in, and it's also
Yep.
got some if you see the little round plugs right there, those are also 12-volt plugs, I believe. I can't see on yours if it says that.
Yeah, they are 12 volt. I don't know why the screen isn't
It's
going
on now.
in there, but no, why it's not focusing on those words
Oh,
right
it's because
there.
your face is so ugly. I don't know.
I'm blocking my face. Yeah, I don't know.
So yeah, solar generators are awesome. The cool thing with solar generators is you can buy a solar panel, and um, depending upon the solar generator you go with, and they range in price from a little Jackery's like 160, and they go up. Generally, you're looking at $1 per watt hour, roughly is what
That's
I've seen.
that's what I'm seeing as $1 per watt.
So if it says like it's a 240, it's going to cost about $240. Um,
Hmm.
Sometimes they'll have discounts. Like if you're really in the market for a solar generator, keep it on Amazon. You'll see like the Jackeries go on sale every now and then. Yeti's another company that makes one.
This one that I have, this Aim Tom guy, I got it on one of those Prime Day deals. So
Yeah,
it's probably made in the same factory as the Jackery. It looks super similar. Got a lot of similar components and features.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
So buying a solar generator is nice because it's all built together. The cool things with the solar generators, as you saw the 120 plug, is it's got a inverter built into it. Generally, it's a pure sine inverter, which I'll get into later, this episode or next. And then the only big thing I've noticed is the different batteries that you'll see. Um, some of the batteries are a lot of them are lithium or sealed gel. Um, it just kind of depends upon what they have, and that kind of helps with the life cycle of it. Which I guess I should
but
jump into batteries, right?
I feel like most of these solar generators are going to have a lithium ion battery in them.
So they're going to have a lithium battery, not necessarily a lithium ion, or lithium phosphate, which is what I'm running for my homebrew setup that I built,
Okay.
which I should
Do you do you know what your Jackery has? Because this has a lithium ion.
It's a I believe it's a lithium ion in my Jackery. So lithium ion
Okay.
and lithium phosphate are two different batteries. Um, which the lithium phosphate has more life cycles and lasts longer.
Hmm.
But it's still, but they've all got their pros and cons. The lithium phosphates cost more. A lithium ion is cheaper, but it does not have as long of a life. But they both got some qualities. Um, which I guess should jump into batteries now. We've got flooded and sealed. That's more of like your traditional truck battery. Your sealed would be like your a gel sealed, um, like an Odyssey. Yes, an Odyssey. And your flooded would be like your traditional car battery where it's got the water and the distilled water in the top of it. Um, They're kind of the cheapest energy solution. So if you get a bunch of them, it, it it's cheap and easy to build a setup with one of those. Cons is they require ventilation, so it's not something you can keep sealed in the car or whatever with you. Um, there's chances of leaking. Um, there's also a limit of how they can be installed. They can't be placed on their side. They have a low depth of charge, so they need to be charged more often. And then they also have a shorter lifespan. You're looking 5 to 10 years with one of those.
So
Um,
you mentioned them being placed on their side. You've kind of got two batteries that are the
I,
same,
I
like the
I
lead
do,
acid. Yeah. So sealed, there are sealed lead acid and flooded lead acid, and the sealed ones would be like your Optima battery, where you can put it on your side or mount it upside down because it's completely sealed.
but it also
Um,
has some of those other cons, like it does have a limited lifespan, and
correct. Yeah.
you cannot drain a. It will. You can. It's bad for it if you drain one of those batteries all the way down.
Yeah. You want to stop at 50% is the rule of thumb for lead acid.
And so the other one here I've got here is lithium batteries. There's a handful of different types of lithium batteries, so you kind of have figure out what's going to be best for your budget. So lithium ion batteries require almost no regular maintenance. They have higher battery density, meaning they can hold more energy in a smaller space than a lead acid battery. They have a longer life cycle or lifespan, as well as most guarantee at least a warranty of 10 years. Um, and they allow a higher depth of discharge. So depending upon the battery, some of them you can go all the way down to nothing. Some of them they don't recommend going below like 25%. So it's kind of like that. One of the biggest disadvantages of lithium ion batteries is they require uh, they're more expensive. They're newer technology. They're more expensive. You're seeing them a lot more, so their prices are going down. Also, because of the chemistry of the lithium batteries, they do have a chance of catching fire, as you've seen with
Hmm.
electric cars. Um,
Yes. I want to pop back to the cons real quick. You mentioned that because they've got a higher energy density, you could have more energy in a smaller or same size space. Um, that means that because it's smaller and has the same output as a lead acid, it's going to be lighter.
oh
Um,
yeah, so this right here in my hand is a 8 amp, 102 watt hour battery, and it's I guess I'm not really on camera there. It's really light,
yeah,
and this is
yeah, and
just a little 12-volt battery.
this thing is it's not quite as big. I guess maybe it's as big as like a commuter car battery, and it's definitely way light.
Yeah.
I'm only holding it with my thumb. It's that light. That's how light it is. Or I'm really really strong. We've got a question here from Sam. He's asking what would a solar generator typically be used for. We kind of covered that earlier, but essentially anything that you can plug into the front of this solar generator, and they call it a solar generator because
It's a
it's
misnomer.
like
It is a
yeah, it's
misnomer.
not generating anything. It's
It
essentially a
stores energy.
battery with some outputs and a charger built in.
So, it, so like some things we've used it for is like when we've gone camping, we've used it to run camp lights, charge mobile devices and cameras and such. So like when we go out snow camping, I pull mine out and I'll run some of my camp lights around, and then we've used it to make margaritas, and we've also used it for, oh geez, what else have we used it for?
How about
Uh,
running a podcast soundboard?
yeah, we ran the soundboard on the podcast before
Hmm.
once. Yeah, it's just it's handy. It's a handy extra device, and as I mentioned, it is a misnomer. It does not generate energy. I've seen so many reviews online. I pulled it out of the box when I was camping and it had no power, and this doesn't work. It doesn't make energy. So you store energy, so you can charge it with your car on the way to a trip, or you can use a solar panel to charge it, or you
Yep.
can um, charge it at home off of 120. You could make ice cream with an ice cream maker.
Yep. We didn't do that. We actually did the ice cream maker off of Koi's FJ Cruiser. But you can, if you've
Yeah,
got a solar generator that puts out enough amps, you totally can use your trail ice cream maker, which
yep.
it's dope having ice cream when you're camping.
And so Brent here commented he's got a lithium iron phosphate battery with a arc battery management system in his vehicle. He uses a Rockpal's 100 watt folding solar panel, which is actually the solar panel I have, I believe, is the Rockpal's. Might be a different brand. So yeah, no, it's okay, man. Sam was says he was sorry for asking a question, but no, do
Yeah,
ask
it's all
questions.
good. Yep.
It's
Yep.
all good.
We love it.
I'd rather have questions than not.
Yeah.
Um, but if your system's properly installed, your chance of your battery catching fire is zero. And one of a good example for that would be having all your stuff fused, which if Jeremy or Aaron has a chance while I'm talking here for my next thing is if you guys can grab a picture of my battery box that I shared in the group. Um, I talked a little bit about it. I built a solar battery box myself, which is kind of what inspired this episode.
Mm.
And it was I used a breaker fuse so that I would be able to cut power if I needed to, or if it started to overload itself, it would pop it so that I'd be able to tell something was up. So Um, I think I'm going to end this with talking a little bit about amp hours needed. Um, and then I'll show my box and talk a little bit about it. As so amp hours and watt hours, and there's some math that I'm terrible at on figuring out what you need. So I built mine with, I want to say it was 200 or 400 amp hours or watt hours. 8 16. It was
I'm gonna
32
go.
amp hours.
I'm gonna go grab a kitchen appliance, and it'll help with this talk. I'll be right back.
Yes. So it really depends upon what you want to use for how long and how much power you need, and then figuring out how much your panels are going to send back to those batteries. So I mean your size can vary. I mean for someone like me, 240 watt amp hour or 240 watt Jackery is great for a round camp for the weekend. Um, for or even a week. I think we used it for a week, and I just charged it while we were out wheeling. And then even like when we went snow camping, I was able to use it to use my electric blanket. Um,
Okay, so I've got a toaster.
ooh,
I really want toast for breakfast while I'm camping. So I bring my toaster. I've got my solar generator, right? All I got to do is plug that same cord, the house cord, right into that solar generator. It should work, right? It's electric, it's all electric. Well, you got to look at, so in the electrical industry we call it the nameplate. I'm going to tip this and it's going to spill crumbs all over my office here. But there's the nameplate on the bottom. Can you see how many watts it draws?
I believe it says 60 watts. It could be
850.
850,
850. It's 60 hertz.
60
Hertz
hertz.
is the cycles per second that our electricity does. So 850 watts. And this guy puts out 300 watts. So that is almost 300. It's almost three times as much as what my little Jackery knockoff will do. So I cannot make toast with my toaster with my Jackery. I'd have to have something a lot bigger. And they definitely do make bigger ones. I believe you can get 1,000 watt ones and maybe even 1,500 watt ones.
Yeah, you
It's
can get a
all
lot bigger.
all about how much money you want to spend.
Yeah, and if you don't want to go, if you've decided that a solar generator isn't necessary for you, um, we will talk about it in the next episode. Is inverters is you can go with an inverter and you'd be able to run something like a toaster.
I've got my 3D printer sitting here next to me off screen. You can't see it, but the nameplate on it says 350 watts. So I could almost run my 3D printer
Nice.
o-
So,
off of mine.
so
Except you'd get like halfway through a usable print and it would just shut off.
Yeah, it would run out of battery. Yeah, I would only have to print really, really small things like my help me, I'm being
your whistle.
attacked whistle.
There you go. So
S- s-
here's my solar generator here, or my solar box I should say. So I used a Renogy solar inverter, a with their Bluetooth module. It also has, if you look on the left hand bottom corner, you see a little wire coming out of it. That is a temperature sensor that sits between the two batteries, so it can help monitor how hot those batteries are getting. So if while they're taking in a charge they start getting too hot, it will shut down power to the batteries, so that it doesn't overcharge them or overheat the batteries, killing their lifespan. I've got two batteries in there side by side, and if you look just
Are they
below
the
the top,
same size? Are they the same size batteries, and does that matter?
yes, they are the same size batteries, and that does matter a lot. When you've got a in series system or any batteries that you're linking together, they should be same age, same brand, make, lifespan. They should be as twinned as possible, because you do not want to. Your charge controller will have issues, and you'll create a whole realm of issues.
Hmm.
Um, and if you look at the bottom of the box, towards closest to the bottom of the screen here, you'll see a little thing there. That's a fuse breaker fuse.
Oh yeah, circuit breaker. Yep. So
Yes,
rather than just a fuse that burns out, this is resettable.
yes, I did that way just in case it pops. I'm not looking for an extra fuse because that sucks.
Yeah.
This is the
So
front of the box with my connections for power in and out.
okay. Um, so let's maybe talk about power in here real quick because we haven't really talked about. So I bought a solar generator, and I bought a solar panel. How do I make the sun power this guy?
So, somewhere on your device there is your power in. Is that in the back right there? That
Yeah,
under
so
the
this is if I charge it at home. This plug here is for it says 12 to 24 volt
so
input.
that is not an Anderson connector.
No, it's not.
Oh my
It
goodness.
it came it it came with a plug that goes into this,
Yes,
but
I know
do
what
I
that
just plug
is.
that do I just plug that right into my solar, or do I have to have something in between them?
So with your setup, generally those have a built it has a built-in charge controller, so you would be able to plug that directly into a solar panel.
And if it doesn't have a charge controller, that's kind of where I was kind of going with this. Let's say you built your own like you did. I need something to go between my batteries and the solar panel, which you're calling a charge controller.
Yes, and if you bring this back up again at the top
Yep.
left hand side, that is my charge controller. And if you look at it, you'll see that well, it's hard to see, and I'll pull it out for the next episode we do on this, and I'll have detailed pictures too. Is there is um two sets of wires going into it. One is power in, so that'd be your solar in, and then the other one is to the batteries.
So have a feeling that mine has a charge controller built in. So here's the plug that plugs
Yep.
into the back of mine, and the other end has these, which are pretty typical for solar panels. There
Yep.
you go.
Those are MC4 connections,
Oh yeah, MC4s.
and when we that's actually where we'll be picking up next week is connectors.
Maybe we should talk one more thing here, since it's in the show notes, just to finish up before we talk about building a system next week. But you've got amp hours and watt hours. I'm not sure. I've never heard the term watt hours, but I've heard amp hours many times, and that's usually what's labeled on the back. So this says that it has 25 amp hours. So that means you can have, if you had a 25 amp device, you could run this thing for 1 hour until the battery was completely drained. Or if you had a 1 amp device, you could run it for 25 hours at 1 amps before it was drained. So you just kind of add up how many amps your devices draw and how long, and then it'll tell you how long you can run them for.
I've
That's how
seen
I
I've
understand that.
I've seen a handful of where watt hours comes up a lot more often, and it's like how many watts does it run off of? So
Well, amps and watts and volts all have a
yeah,
correlation. So I guess there could be a watt hour as well, but it
yeah,
just
that's
seems like the norm is pretty much amp hour.
oh
You
it's
can't
green.
read that because you're green screen.
Yeah, so it says 102 watt hours on it.
Interesting. Okay.
Jeremy, you got any
So if you
questions?
Oh, his Rick's comment said, "Ask me a question." I was waiting for Aaron to ask me what. Oh, I can't think of the name for that formula now. V equals IR. Now I can't remember the name.
um
What's
I
the
can't think of
formula
it
for
either, but
measuring?
there's a chart. We actually call it the pie chart, PINE. So
Yeah. And there's
anyways,
if I find it, I'll put it in the notes and I'll talk about it next episode. The formula for figuring out how big of a solar generator you need. Jackery has it listed on their thing. So when you're trying to figure out is this big enough for me and how long will it run for?
sounds good. Yeah, and if you have any questions between now and I'm not sure if we'll do solar recap or solar
Part 2.
the next episode part 2 there, if we'll do that next week or the week after, but we'll see when it comes out. It'll be there. So Brent says, decide how long you're going to be at a static camp, and that will determine how big of a battery or solar charger you need. If it's only overnight or 1 day, not very much. 4 or more days at camp, bigger, or you need lots of sun. And Rick wants to know, what is solar again. So maybe we'll do some research and figure out an answer to that.
Solar relating to the determined by the sun. So it's power from the sun's rays. I mean, that's basically a basic what it is. It's converting the sun's rays into energy to be used for battery usage. Right? Is that good
We'll
enough?
have to edit. We'll have to edit that part out after we.
Yeah. Damn it.
I'm just kidding. All right.
No.
Well, we do want to thank everyone for listening to us, and especially for giving us a hard time, and for keeping Jeremy awake on this episode.
Yep.
Clearly, it was key. So, yeah, we appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching us. Thanks for hanging out with us and asking questions. Sam, I hope you find what you need and what you're looking for. If you have more questions, feel free to reach out to us through our Facebook page, um,
Oh,
or
or the
through
Facebook
email.
group.
Facebook group. Yep. Make sure you guys are checking out our Facebook group too. Help us grow that group. We need to be bigger than our arch nemesis, the horsepower hour. So yeah, help us grow that group. We really appreciate you guys. Make sure you're sharing us with your friends, and also God bless America.
Don't forget to visit Patriot Patch and join the Patch of the Month Club. Check out our Gaia affiliate link for up to 40% off. Also, don't forget to head over to Warren and Power Tank to see all of their great gear. We are a proud part of the Firearms Radio Network. Got a question or comment? Send it to us through our webpage at firearmsradio.tv or through our social media channels by searching for Off-Road Podcast. Also, you can listen to us live at overlandradio.com, Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific. When off-road, please remember to have fun, tread lightly, be safe and courteous, and thanks for listening.
Oh,
And-
Jeremy has a question.
No, I have a comment. It's Ohm's law. There, I added something.
That's it. Ohm's law.
There we go. Ohm's law.
Thank you.